We have a lot of flaws in our education system, but I want to talk about why, in many ways, America has the best education system in the world. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about some students that I've known from around the world and what their experiences have been. We had an exchange student at one time. Her name was Jin Hee from South Korea. And she told me about some of the great things about the Korean education system. For example, instead of the students changing classes all throughout the day, the teachers change classes and the students kind of take ownership of their classroom. It's their classroom. They clean it. They're the ones who take care of it. And that seemed like a pretty cool thing to me, because if you like the group that you're part of, because then you get to be really a tight-knit group. But then she also told me about the system there where in 8th grade you have a pretty major exam. And if you don't pass that exam, your schooling choices become very limited. You have to do whatever the results of the exam. So some people go on track to get more schooling. Some people go on track to get technical training. And there's some good and bad things about that. But the point I'm making is that you lose your choice as an individual for what's going to happen. Jin Hee had a friend whose name was Lucy. Lucy was from the Czech Republic, and she came with us on a spring break skiing trip. And Lucy, every night, the rest of us were all worn out, and we're like, oh, I'm just going to recover from skiing. My shoulders are sore, my neck is sore. And we were just watching TV and eating pizza and whatever we were doing. But Lucy was studying. And I said, Lucy, you are so dedicated. You're studying during spring break. And Lucy told us that when she got back to the Czech Republic, she had a pretty major test. And if she didn't pass that test, her schooling was over and she had to go find a job. And she really wanted to continue with schooling, so she was studying for that test. We had another exchange student named Jill, and Jill was from Germany. And there were some great things that Jill told us about the education system in Germany. One of the things is that college is free. And that sounds great. And once again, this video is not to knock or promote anything, just to talk about how great we have it here in the United States. And you can't always compare different things. Now, the difference there in Germany is that although college is free, it's very, very competitive to get into. So if you don't get a certain score on a certain exam, or you don't have certain grades, you don't get the free college, and you don't have many options of doing things on your own. So now I want to talk about the US system. And this is what makes our system so good. Anybody, anywhere, at any time can choose to go to community college. Sometimes they might not even have their degree yet. their diploma, their high school diploma yet, but they can still choose to go to community college and work out some other way, get their GED or something to get in there. Now, let's suppose someone drops out of school when they're 16. They go live on the street. They become an alcoholic. They're just living in the gutter and they're not doing anything, not pursuing anything. And then at the age of 30, they decide they want to be a doctor. Well, they can go to community college and work on getting good grades, and they can still become a doctor. It's not like their opportunities are gone forever. We have a cheap education system. Now, you might not always know that by listening to the media, because they talk about how expensive college has become. And in some places, it has become expensive. And if you want to go to a private college, then many times it is expensive. If you want to go out of state, it's going to be expensive. But if you go to community college and then you go to a state college, it's actually very cheap. Now, college isn't for everybody. But, this is a big but. Education is for everybody. Whatever you choose to do, if you choose to become a plumber, plumbers make a lot more than a lot of college-educated people do. But that plumber needs to keep learning. If you're going to run your own restaurant, that's great. Keep learning. It doesn't necessarily mean college learning, but keep learning and improving and doing better. We have some of the greatest education in the world, It has its faults, but we have so many. The biggest thing we have is opportunity. Opportunity. Don't let opportunity pass you by.